Hello, and welcome back to more Nova Arcana developer commentary with renderXR. It's time for the obelisks of
Hello.
inversion.
Woo! Time to invert and go into an alternate reality.
Yeah. Um, the name, made me wonder what was going to happen, and obviously, it was one of the biggest visuals. Like, when you first break through Intersection 3, you can come through, the little lava canyon hallway or whatever and, see your way over here. But it was definitely an area that just makes you go, oh my gosh, what the heck, what is going on here?
What is going on? That's exactly the idea of it. Especially with the really out of place lighting on it, because it's full bright
Yep, it's like,
and all the lighting in the walls is behind glass to kind of hide what blocks they are.
so I presume it's like all sea lanterns back there.
Yeah, it's all sea lanterns with either magenta or cyan glass
Right.
in front of it.
And then, yeah, kind of obsidian shell, and it's hanging from the ceiling from the obsidian chains, I presume, and it looks weird and imposing and weird.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
So first we have this little entrance area.
oh, yeah.
So were you
I was
gonna
going to say
continue?
another thing just as nice is you give the player this entrance area, like rather than going directly into one of these things, you kind of walk around the outside and it gives the player more opportunity to appreciate just looking at it from the outside and also start to see all the little connected pathways and different things. So you're kind of giving a preview.
Mm-hmm. I really wanted to use the actual cave wall for more than just looks.
Right?
So that's why I also brought the player out more on the wall before actually going inside.
I see.
Just to use more of that space and make the map feel more connected by using more of the map.
Right.
So I put some money here.
Mm-hmm.
Back. Right after a little lava thing, so that this would hopefully also take a bit of your time.
Okay.
And then if you stand here mining the money, the idea is that some of the creepers up here would walk down to you and give you a good little surprise.
I see. I don't think I found
There's a
these.
little. It's basically there's also little walls, so you couldn't see them from the other side.
Right. It's well hidden. Yeah,
Yeah,
once again, I think I didn't stop to mine the money, and yeah, I was also excited to get to the area, I think, at this point.
I think I should have put the creeper spawners closer.
Yeah, a little bit closer might have
Because
helped.
then we get down. And there's a second trap. This one
Yes.
is more effective.
Yes. Skeletons behind the lava.
What?
Where have we ever seen this before? Did you use this in four or five places in the map?
At least three? Because it's here, it's in intersection 4, and it's later in this area as well.
Yeah, and it was wasn't it downstairs by the corner of the Boomer Boneyard, or is that in this area really? Um,
Um, it's really in this area. It's
okay.
in kind of in the. It's where the diamond is. The diamond on top
Yeah,
of the lava lake.
right. The single diamond. That was the trap, as opposed to the single diamond. That was the gift that we saw in the previous area.
Hmm.
Oh, look, how nice. There is a cake. Not at all suspicious.
Not at all suspicious.
So I didn't. Okay, well, you broke the cake.
Ooh.
I just chose not to touch the cake, which ended
Hmm.
up in this instance being the right decision. It's one of the few cases where I made just the right decision in terms of guessing what would be a trap versus what would not be a trap in this map.
Hmm.
Um,
I
yeah,
thought this one was really obvious, but maybe less because of the. There wasn't gravel underneath it, but there was light gray powder.
right. Yeah, there was some
Asphalt.
different block that was trying to blend in pretty well, but you could still see it if you were looking for it. I can't remember if you had given us cake earlier in the map. There were the cakes that were underneath the monument. But if you were at the monument, you're probably at full health anyway. So I don't remember if I'd had the opportunity to test the cake mechanic to see if it was going to give me any benefits anyway. So that might have made me less motivated to even try the cake.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I gave cake out anywhere else.
And is cake just like an instant heart or something? Like, I think we talked about it, but I don't remember.
I don't think cake did anything.
Oh, it was another sweet food that just like didn't even do anything. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cakes do have the advantage, like if you're ever handing them out or whatever, like that they're spammable. You can place cake on the ground and go
Yeah.
nom 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 nom. And so, like,
In
if you ever want to give some like weird, potentially overpowered healing item or something.
in Myriad Caves, they used to be one of the best food sources when I gave them out in chest, because you could just put them down and you could just get full healed or half healed, whatever you wanted.
Right.
You could just be like, okay, I basically need 4 hearts back, 1, 2, done. Oh, 2 more because I took damage, and then yeah, you can basically slowly eat it up.
And then I think I did see most players kind of slowly creeping across here because it's very easy to put a hole in the stained glass that people won't notice.
Yeah, especially with the wonky background of the actual obelisk.
Right, yeah. There's a lot for your eyes to be looking at.
And here we have the much referred obsidian areas. Obsidian area. People generally, at least I hate kind of when people make areas out of obsidian because it's so dark everywhere.
It is very dark.
So I really tried. So I tried to make it obvious with the floor on where you're actually
Right.
kind of going.
And that was good, yeah. It totally did. So it didn't make me feel like I couldn't see the boundaries. And it also, at the same time, like we've had all these huge open areas or whatever, and this is like one of the first enclosed kind of dungeons we've had in a while. And so once again, in terms of, mixing things up that we were talking about, the peaks and valleys or whatever, like this was a change of style.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's basically just use contrast to make the map more interesting. And yeah, this time it's in openness versus enclosedness.
So yeah, and at the start of the area, it was just kind of like, okay, there's a dungeon, there's a bunch of ways to go, there's a bunch of spawners, but didn't have a sense of what this area was going to be about just yet. And I guess it's mostly linear here at the start. I mean, there's, like little, 2 different loops you could use to get down here or whatever, but there's basically everyone's going to be funneled down in this direction, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the paths diverge right here.
Right. And I remember I saw creepers behind this wall, and I decided, okay, I don't want to go that way right now. And then I kind of even forgot that there was a way to go there for a while, and so I was thinking it was like completely linear for a bit.
Yeah, you found it back from the other side, I remember.
Okay.
You were like, huh? Oh, I've been here before.
And then you get here, and so this is another place where you do an effective job at, even a player who hasn't played your maps before or whatever. Like, you come into this room, there's no text explaining what the mechanic is. There's just what you see, but people figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
It's a teleporter.
We get inverted.
Welcome to the inversion. And so now you're in a different place. And if people had been paying attention, you can start realizing that each of the obelisks, I just went back, has like a particular symbol. So we have like the cyan squares here. And when we teleport into the inversion, you also are in the cyan squares. So if you're trying to keep track of how things connect, there was the visual indication. But it took me a little bit of time to kind of figure that out. Go ahead.
It's the same colors and the same symbol. to make it easy to remember.
Right.
Because I could have made them all the same color, but that would have been harder to remember and
Yep.
where to go. The um the chains are actually also in the same spots, with some added in this one, like higher up.
I see. So something I didn't realize. So are you saying that the relative orientations of each of the teleport spheres is also like the same as it was in the other world?
Yes,
I did not realize that.
yes. Like for example, over in that direction, boink, that one, or is it one? Yeah, that one in particular leads. That's where the way to the Noir passages.
Or yeah.
So that one actually kind of leads. So that one is actually in the same position as well.
So can we go teleport back through? And I just want to try to look at that together.
Okay. Can actually quickly grab the command out of the command block. Oh wait, no, it's in a function file now. Trying to be smart now.
Okay, so I guess it's very hard to see the diamond out here because the big one in the middle is kind of blocking it. And so I guess the big one in the middle
Uh-huh.
is the one thing that you don't have inside the inversion, and so that's the reason that I didn't realize about the relative relative behaviors of this. But then okay, so like up here we have like the purple circle-y kind of plus sign or whatever
Yeah,
to
the
the up
double
and right.
circle of
And so
plus.
if I go back into the inversion and come out here and look up and right, it's the purple circle-y plus sign. Neat.
Yep.
Okay, I did not realize that. That adds like a whole new layer to this area for me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you come into this area
Um.
and it looks weird and there's barrier blocks. And like if you're the map maker and accustomed to having made the area, like maybe you don't even like think about them or see them, but like I think everybody when they come into this area, they're like, okay, there's barriers. Do I have to? Oh, it's just kind of where you'd expect the walls to be, and are there going to be any holes? Am I going to fall? Like people kind of testing out the bounds of the area, but this is another I don't know, very effective use because after the first minute of getting used to it, it's basically the barriers are where you'd expect them to be, and they just create this really cool, weird visual effect while you're still kind of inside an enclosed cave dungeon. You can just see everything that's around you.
Mm-hmm. It's um. It's kind of a throwback to Delusion, I think it was called, from
Right.
Myriad Caves. And this one is more linear instead of maze-like, because the idea of this one is that you have to go kind of in and out
Mm-hmm.
to actually get where you want. So you have to kind of keep count of, okay, there's kind of the tilted square one, so I need to get to that one in the opposite dimension. It's kind of like a 4D puzzle, a 4D map.
Right.
That makes sense.
Um, and yeah, this one was Delusion was cool as kind of like a new idea, but we already had kind of the barrier maze to some extent in the fundaments, and yeah, it was just not as fun. Like this one, I don't know. This one was just really cool because it looks so weird when you're inside here, and once again, you get like all these mobs that I feel like even though the enchanted tools were kind of designed for the vertigo mines, like this and the enchanted armor, haunted armor, whatever they fit into this area perfectly because you come in here, the mobs are silent, they're invisible, the whole area is kind of like upside down and weird, and it all fit together. I love the aesthetic of this area.
Oh, thank you. I definitely was going for a very enchanted vibe with all the kind of with the candles going on, with like floating candles as well on the platforms
Okay,
and
yeah,
floating chandeliers. So it kind of gives kind of like a witch or bewitched feeling. So that's what kind of the haunted tools thematically fit into, and the summoners later on in the area as well.
right. Um, got area rugs, which of course, people are also just going to start digging up to make sure that there isn't some kind of trap hidden down here. But there was very little of that kind of stuff in here, as I recall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I don't like to do shenanigans inside of barrier mazes. Unless it's like it's one that is kind of generous. So this is the opposite side, which you can get into this area. So you could also have your first entrance to be this one.
Mm-hmm.
This is if you went into the creeper section.
Got it. Okay.
I guess we can quickly check out the creeper section.
And I guess, yeah, also the first time you kind of like transport back that way, if you hadn't already figured out exactly what's going on in the area, then it just kind of like drives it home that you're just going to travel back and forth between the two dimensions, the normal one and the inversion, in order to get through the 40 maze.
One of the things I do not like about this area is that every mob despawns when you kind of teleport to the other side, because
Right.
I basically copied a separate instance over to the other side.
Right. I felt like it wasn't. I felt like it wasn't that bad because the teleporters were all like, I don't know, a 30-block walk out from the main area where there'd be any mobs and spawners or something. So like a lot of them were gonna despawn anyway, maybe.
Right, but for example, these creepers all had to respawn.
I
I
see.
guess it isn't too big of a deal, but at some points I think it is a bit obvious that all the mobs just despawn.
I see. So yeah, the players would be kind of either accidentally or on purpose potentially taking advantage of that fact because otherwise, if we'd taken the route that we were here, we would have spawned some already over here, and then by the time we got back around, they might still be there.
Uh-huh.
All right.
So there's an effect. There's basically black concrete everywhere.
Right.
And I don't know what your render distance is at, but if you have it higher up, you can actually not see any fog. So everything around you is black like you're in the void.
Right. Yeah. In the very corners, I can see a little bit of the fog, but yeah, for the most part, and yeah, when I was playing the map, yeah, I didn't really see the fog, and I didn't even really think about that aspect either. Like that there was just kind of blackness and I couldn't see what was below or above. Um, so there was also, it was sufficiently awe-inspiring that I wasn't thinking about kind of the Minecraft and the mechanical aspect of it or whatever. Like I was just playing the game and appreciating what it looked like.
I think I could actually do a. Could have gone like one level up. And you remember the monument? If you look up, you have this starry night.
Yeah, yeah.
I could have basically done that all around here.
That
Had
would
like
be
a big,
interesting.
like a big colorful nebula going around.
Yeah.
That would maybe be too crazy, but
I'm not sure. Yeah, I would have to see it to compare one way or the other.
might be too chaotic. Maybe just stars might work. And then over here we have the second enchanted table.
Right. So we talked about basically there was one in intersection 2 and one in intersection 3. So either way players went, eventually they would be likely to find one.
Mm-hmm. And we talked earlier about kind of the implied lore of the map
Right.
and how there used to be a civilization and then disappeared. My idea was also that the all the books and wisdom that they had, they took it with them, except for these few scattered books. So that's why all the bookshelves are also empty.
Oh, I see.
Because,
I didn't realize that these are supposed to be bookshelves that are empty. Okay.
mm-hmm. Yeah, it's always hard with lore is trying to let people know about lore. And here we have the summoner.
And so I guess in vanilla Minecraft, these guys summon Vexes.
Mm-hmm. And I basically find Vexes and just replace them with zombies. I always like how people always freak out when they see these.
The fact that the zombies can turn back on the summoners, when people discovered that that was a mechanic, like I saw a lot of people intentionally trying to use it. Basically, when he does his for alligator mouth attack, it's a good way to just to get it to aggro the zombies back on him.
Yep. At first, I actually didn't like it, and then at some point I kind of switched over, kind of to the player's side. It's actually kind of fun to make mobs. If you
Yeah,
hit the zombie first, then it will stay always aggroed on you.
right. And I think I did that most of the time. I think I didn't realize that this was something that I could take advantage of. But if I had realized it, like mob infighting, and yeah, the player feels like they're playing strategically and being clever, and it's good to give the player an opportunity to do that.
And we have, I think this is the first super creeper.
I really can't remember. I guess it's been rush creepers previously. Have been the only special creepers.
Yes. And these potion stack ones. Or just the normal potion ones.
With the super
Potion stack ones
creepers,
is
this would
different.
not definitely would not be the best place to farm them. But I don't think they have any special drops from what I recall. I can't remember if you've given them special drops on previous maps.
They used to drop TNT in
Right.
previous maps. But in this one, yeah, they don't have any special drops.
Yeah, I think I would prefer it if they did have special drops. If it was more gunpowder, if it was TNT, or if it was something.
I do generally enjoy when maps also put like custom loot tables on all the custom mobs they do. But then the next problem is the inventory problem. So
Right,
it's like it's a trade-off in my opinion.
right. And yeah, I'd had it in my notes. I was thinking about possibly talking about at the end of the map, but since we're talking about custom loot tables, another thing, yeah, I talked to you and had done a number of small modifications to my map just to try to deal with inventory kind of stuff. I made some custom crafting recipes where I could use a log and a block of coal to make a stack of torches rather than have to break it into sticks and break it into coal, and craft it like that. And custom recipes for ladders as well that I could make directly out of logs so that I didn't have to make wooden sticks and use crafting tables all the time. But in terms of mob drops, like it's also the case that in pretty much every map I've ever played in the entire universe, there's always skeletons even through the last area, and they're always dropping bones, and I don't need the bones anymore. It would be cool if there were some way, and I'm not sure like what is the best way to like have the player interact with it, but basically to say like turn off bones as drops from skeletons, I don't need them anymore, or turn off,
Hmm.
feathers from zombies, I don't need them anymore. At some point you've got a chest of the stuff, and it's just something that I don't want cluttering up the inventory anymore.
That's an interesting idea. What if um what if a map maker had like custom natural spawns per area, right?
Right,
And then in the later areas there would be no vanilla skeletons, there would be like custom skeletons that didn't drop any bones, for example.
right.
Wouldn't that
Yeah,
be like a curious idea by a map maker if he ever did
I
that?
see. It's the implication that maybe you're a step ahead of me. I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Another idea which you could do is you can also control loot tables via scoreboards.
Yeah,
So you could
scoreboard is the
kind of
main thing
set the
that I was
score.
originally thinking. Yep.
Yeah, you could basically via score set it so basically just a boolean to turn off certain drops.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was originally thinking, and just like, the clumsiest way, I'm imagining at the, a monument or whatever, like a button that like, toggles bone drops or something kind of thing.
Or if you, when you find a bone block area, then just automatically turn it off.
That's a
Like an
possibility
area
too.
literally made of bone blocks.
Right. Yep. Anyway, little distraction. So this
This is where I
is.
start also
Go ahead.
playing. This is where I start playing with the kind of the walls and ceilings not being actual ceilings.
Yes.
So it's like a double story room
Yeah, this is the first bit of 3D space, and I forget, to the mobs, like if you're in survival mode, are they going to drop in your head over here and pass down to you so that you discover it immediately?
Yes, they do.
Okay. I felt like you did a very good job in this area, and then later there'll be like gas spawning in the area or whatever, of having the mobs illustrate the open 3D effects so that when all of a sudden the rooms start getting larger and you can't really tell because of the barrier blocks, you can still tell because of the mobs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, neat.
So here you can here you can basically see the shape of the room.
That's actually
So
super
try to
effective
make
to use this kind of thing, like when you're mapping and trying to like see what the room looks like. Do you start by making it with glass and then change it to barriers, or?
exactly
Okay.
that's exactly how I do it. I first make everything by glass and then I continue on. And here you can see that it's just about not connected. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of teasing the opposite side with
Yep.
it. Quickly.
I did notice that when I was playing through the map. Yeah. But yeah, it's really close.
And yeah, basically try to use the actual decoration to also mark off, like, hey, this is the end of the room. And then I try to make the inside of the floors also kind of say, hey, this is a square, so this is its own contained little thing.
Indeed. Can you hear power tools coming through over my mic?
Actually, you cannot.
Okay, good.
I did hear a dog, but
Yeah. I was trying to mute the dog some earlier, but now all of a sudden I hear like something very loud, like someone's working down the street, but I don't know that that one's coming through as much.
it happens a lot now with these times as well. All of a sudden, everybody does everything at their house.
Right. This
Yeah,
room
this
is
is
kind
one
of
of those
scary.
rooms. This room can be scary until you know that everything despawns when you leave.
Oh, right.
This is really where it comes into play
I
because you
see.
go to the other
Yeah.
side and then
Yeah.
you come back and everything is gone.
Yeah. Because we're so
And there's some
close. Like,
interesting.
yeah, you can just run right over here if you wanted to despawn everything.
Mhm. And then there's some interesting design with kind of a tube going down to an in-between level that you skipped going upwards. You
Right.
basically go always up in this dungeon.
I see.
This whole dungeon is about going up.
At this point in the map, I guess the player is unlikely to have gotten enough diamonds or a diamond pickaxe anywhere. What were your expectations, or did you have any with respect to building so much of it out of obsidian as a way to kind of like block off the player and keep them on the fun path versus give the player the opportunity to just chop through some of the walls and go their own way?
Mm, I expected people to go through here, but also just by using a water bucket or whatever to kind of go into crawling mode. But I expected almost everybody to just kind of adhere my obsidian protocols that I put down.
I see. Yeah, it didn't even occur to me to use any of ender pearls or crawling mechanics or swimming mechanics or things like that. Um, I might have even, I don't remember if I had a diamond, I probably did have a diamond pickaxe at some point here, but I might have even just like punched through a piece of obsidian just to check out what was going on and decide if I wanted to go a certain way.
hmm There's a, I believe there's a diamond pickaxe in the spider mines up ahead. So you could technically, and there's also quite. I think you've gotten like 2 or 3 diamond ore by now.
I mean, yeah, you definitely, yeah, could have had, and I think players usually probably at least have Fortune 2. I remember at some point, I guess it was later on in the map, that I wanted to make sure that I got Fortune 3.
hmm
Oh, right. This is like the little like midway point on the far wall where we're incorporating more of the wall into the playing area. Okay.
So this is multiple uses. One is to give a break of a decently large dungeon by just shaping it up.
Okay.
And 2 is for the player to make their own shortcut from here.
Indeed. And I think I did do that because I think I was ready for break to go home and restock on torches. And I saw that basically there was the entrance where I came in. And so I I don't know if I bridged or threw an ender pearl or what I did, just to go back home and kind of like break things up, I think.
Mm. Yeah, there's just some general resources here. Lots of iron, some lapis.
No traps at all.
No traps at all. Some creepers hidden up.
Yeah, so these guys were a fun surprise.
Here we have a fun little trap. This is one that is just always funny to me. People see the TNT block and are like, "Oh, I want none of that. Let's break it," and then it just sets off an observer underneath. And that's basically just connected to all the TNT.
And yeah, once again, this was one that had a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So let's give the players what they want. They want
Some
big boom.
explosions. Then they get the fireworks. Did that set it off? No. So yeah, pretty straightforward.
3, 2, 1.
Happy New Year!
And you might get a little bit of the iron that was here.
Mm-hmm. Especially now that the TNT finally
Right.
gives 100% of the block drops back.
Right. Since it's staggered in terms of the explosions, a lot of them still get exploded by the falling TNT. But, yeah, you could even, I guess you could set that up for like for the player where they like, you know, can intentionally set off TNT in an area and the TNT somehow all simultaneously goes off and just helps them mine a bunch of blocks or something. Like that could be fun.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think after that trap went off, I didn't choose to come down this way, and so I ended up getting here a different direction maybe. But I guess a lot of people did find this as the pathway down to the tantalizing diamond ore block.
Mm-hmm. So over here we have 2 blaze spawners. Actually, one on the opposite side as well. So
Yep.
right here. In the same kind of mount.
Yep. And the lava curtain. That's hid something, right?
Yeah, there's skeletons behind it.
There they are. Okay. This was actually a decent place if people did want to set up a skeleton farm. 4 skeleton spawners. Tight little area. They're falling down. Probably could be decent. I don't know that anybody set up such a farm, but if you wanted arrows.
Number. Here you go. So, if you go into spectator mode and
Okay.
look, if you, I guess if you go inside of the block where the diamond is sitting upon.
Yeah, I'm still struggling to get there, but I know what you're saying, so give me a moment. Oh, yeah, okay, now I can see it.
It's basically observers checking for if you poured water on top. And there's TNT going down below. That's all kind of spread out.
I see.
Yeah, it's basically TNT everywhere that will now get set off because it's exposed to the lava.
So basically, if people build a bridge or pour water or something that's going to change the last block of lava right before you get to the diamond, that's the thing that actually sets it off. Observers are nice for that, because you don't have to do just spawner proximity traps all the times whenever you want to do things like that.
I really like observer blocks because they're just way easier block update detectors. You don't have to do the stupid falling gravel everywhere, or you don't have to do the piston butt switch.
Mm-hmm.
That you used to have to do. There used to be a different butt switch here. It used to be not observers down below, but there used to be invisible signs on top of the diamond ore.
Oh, so that if you broke it?
That yeah. So when you broke it, all these signs, they would basically be stacked on top of each other like this,
Mm-hmm.
and they would all be kind of wall signs, but there was nothing behind
Right.
it because they were floating, so they would all update. And it would basically drop a gravel block somewhere here, which would turn on some redstone, which would push these pistons, which had TNT, so there would be TNT here, and it would basically push the TNT over one.
Oops.
Oh, that makes me sad.
I get the idea, though. It'll push the TNT under the redstone torch. It's pretty similar
Yes.
to the what do you call the Enderman tree in the Verde Passage that blew me up?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's exactly the same setup.
Right. I can't think of what that plant. Coarse fruit.
Chorus fruit,
Yeah.
Enderman tree.
Enderman tree. You
I
know
was
what I meant.
confused for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically just drops it down on top of the player. I
Right.
think this one's a bit more
This is
effective.
better. Yeah. And it
This
was
one is
also like I forget what previous maps or whatever like have had where if you try to just water over the lava, gas pop up or blazes pop up or all kinds of other bad things happen. And basically, you were kind of kind throughout all the lava here or whatever. So once again, it was just kind of a subversion of expectations that this time there actually was a trigger where obsidianizing the lava was going to have a bad effect.
Mm-hmm.
That said, I think it was Clover I saw who poured water on it, and even though the TNT exploded, it did not blow up. Yeah, the obsidian was enough to block the TNT explosion, so it didn't blow up the diamond.
Yep. It doesn't always do it.
Right?
And at least I'm happy that it's a scare trap.
Yeah, TNT's
Actually,
pretty random.
and now I put some water down to make sure it didn't just set off. Actually, just put a sponge down because I want some fireworks.
Render wants a big boom.
Big big booms. Kaboom! That went.
Farewell. And more lapis.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that was kind of all of the wall side area of this portion.
Yep. So then we can head back inside.
Back to the inversions.
And now, just like in the other one, there's kind of a chain in your way. So this time, instead of you go through it, you actually go around it. And it's mainly because you can otherwise just go to the top to the glass because you can kind of
Oh,
choose your way
like
through
there's
the
enough,
chain.
the chain itself is thick enough that you could just break all the blocks and it would create a path, right?
Yep. And then here I kind of do the same trick as earlier, where it's kind of a double floored room. But then you start on the upper level instead of the lower level.
Right.
Actually get some torches. And then in the middle of the plus, there's your spawner.
Right.
Not being too hidden with it.
Yeah, the particles show up pretty well coming up through the carpets. And obviously you the appearance of the mobs makes it clear when there's a spawner around.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even notice we're in a swamp biome, I guess. Okay. I wasn't sure
Oh yes.
where this was in the map in terms of natural spawns and whatnot, yeah.
So everything is swamp until the kind of halfway through the canyon. It actually switches to desert hills.
Okay.
Because the later section of the map, I originally wanted it to fund. Oh no! Wait, why did I change it to desert? Or to There was a reason why I changed it to desert hills. Into the second, basically part of the map. When you put water all over the big canyon down below, you can actually see that's just a straight up divide
I see.
of the biome. I guess we can go up first.
It's the emerald.
Oh, wait, I can't get there. And then you just about can put torches in front of it.
And so, how many different ways are there to get this emerald? I can think of at least 3.
Yeah, the main idea is ender pearls.
Okay.
You can use boats, minecarts,
Right.
trapdoors,
Right. Trapdoor, I think, is what I ended up using.
water buckets is probably the easiest.
Yeah.
Just go yoink, 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 yoink. And then just go swim mode and you're done.
Neat.
Yeah, basically everything that puts you into crawling modes or...
I guess
some
Elytra, if you had it.
function. Yeah, Elytra as well.
Yeah.
And then there's 4 ender pearls in here as well. Just to make sure people don't get stuck.
That's nice.
Because that can happen. And then these empty bookshelves are now also used for gameplay purposes. Because they're now not just walls, they're walls that the mobs can see through as well.
I see. Do summoners need the line of sight to do their alligator floor attack?
Only to detect you.
Got it.
Otherwise they will see through the floors, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, this is nice for skeleton combat, and blaze combat. And just for mob seeing you in general. And we have a little candle on the table.
Oh, yeah. I didn't really pay attention to this one. It's another nice mob head. Player head. Could almost be like a kind of goth birthday cake or something, too.
Oh yeah! Kind of fits the summoners really well, because of the black and white.
Right.
Yeah, pretty straightforward combat challenge. And we revert the inversion. And we get back to the weird tube thing.
I see. So now here's kind of the main way that you can, without breaking any obsidian, get in to the tube.
Mm-hmm.
But before then, there's lots of mobs and lots of spawners.
This is another room that can get really easy because you despawned everything and triggered all the spawners.
I see. Hidden loot!
Because there's a potion chest, right?
Under the staircase, yep.
Under the staircase.
Super Creepers.
And there's an advanced guild charm over here.
So I don't remember what was actually, it's like 30% or something? 20% speed, 50% attack speed.
30%. Ooh. I try to be really conservative with giving out speed items because just drink a speed potion and then...
And the
drink
player
this
has
thing.
speed from maximum hearts too, yeah. Although, do they stack? I
Mhm.
didn't actually pay much attention to that.
So the speed potion doesn't stack with the speed you get from having maximum hearts. It just makes sure that you always have basically speed.
Okay.
And this does stack with it. So you basically get 20% speed is basically 1 speed level. So, say you have full hearts, you get speed 1. And you can put this on top, and then you basically have speed 2.
Got it.
Say you drink a speed 2 potion, and then equip that thing, and then you have maximum zoomies.
Got
You can
it.
just run everywhere you want. But yeah, I try to be careful with that.
So, we could go down the tube, or we could go back across, it looks like.
Let's go to the tube, because it's a quick one.
Whee! So you fall in
yeah,
some
if you
cobwebs. But then this room, it looked
this-
like it could be
this
really
room-
scary, but it actually wasn't too bad. What were you going to say?
This room can be really scary, is what I was about to say.
I see.
People who don't jump down will, and who will slowly make their way down, will get kind of bottlenecked right at the top.
I see.
Because there's no good way to get down further, so you let a lot of mobs spawn.
Got it.
And then you can die to all the build-up spiders.
The spawners are just spread out enough that, like, if you do come down quickly, like, you can kind of blitz the room pretty effectively. And I think, yeah, I probably threw a water bucket down and, like, thought about coming down, or maybe, like, peeked down once and then came back up and waited to come back again another time later, and probably had despawned everything in between, and so that probably helped too. I don't remember for sure. And was this just a loot area?
Yeah, it's just a loot area with some pretty good loot.
Yeah, Eagle
Was it
Eye was like a
bow?
power 3 bow, I think, and
And then a decent sword. It's the cobalt sword.
I see.
Yeah, pretty straightforward loot.
And yeah, I feel like, so this is an area, part of the reason that I didn't find intersection 4 as quickly as I could have might have been as a result of this area. This was a place where you could fall down into a spider pit, and there was loot, but there wasn't a way to go. And in Calamity Canyon, the bottom of the spider area, you could fall down into a spider pit, and there was good loot, but there wasn't anywhere else to go. And then, you know, it's 2 areas ahead from here or whatever, but the lands below or whatever, I was going through the castle, and there was a place where I looked down, and I could fall down into a spider area. And so I chose just not to fall down into that spider area. And if I had, there was a door out that then led out towards intersection 4. But I never found it that way.
Oh, yeah, in the Lonely Dark. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So it's maybe the wrong time. Like maybe when we get back there, we can talk about it again there. But just because it was this kind of thing that had kind of primed me that way.
Breaking of expected conventions.
Right.
Maybe we have to go this way.
Okay, so now we've circled around, and so let's see.
Yeah.
So the final exit out of here, was it on the top level or on this level? Sorry, I'm back inside the...
It's in the highest one.
Okay.
Top level. Hello.
Hello.
This is the wall socket one. Kind of a weird wall socket.
Yeah, just vertical lines.
It's almost a European wall socket.
And yeah, this just kind of like turned into like the culmination of this area, basically, it felt like. Now all of a sudden, we have a big open room, and somewhere there's a gas spawner. There it is.
Yeah, it's just a giant square room with rooms on the side.
And it was a very fun area. Like, I remember kind of going through it, and I was just having enough fun lighting things up and taking on the mobs, and I was reasonably well equipped. Then that by the time I got up to the objective, like I hadn't even noticed that I got to the objective, and then all of a sudden I was staring the box in the face, and I was like, "Oh, I did it!"
Oh, nice.
Cloud boots were given out here. Was another just kind of nod to the fact that we have a big open vertical room here. Just more examples of showing off where the barriers are and aren't in ways that don't have to directly tell the player.
Mm-hmm. I tried to make sure that every kind of window structure also kind of gave away, hey, this is a window.
Yeah,
Or window
gas
arches.
having line of sight to fire at you definitely helps.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'd come over here because I'd been over in that corner and there were like skeletons shooting at me. And so I was like over here and I saw like skeletons or whatever it was over here on the right. So I was like, okay, the next thing I'm going to do is get over to this platform. And so I went over here and I lit this up and I broke these spawners and I was feeling good about myself. And I was like, okay, let's go to the next section. And I was like, oh, I did it.
That's it.
Good for me.
This,
Monolith.
this used to be one of the most difficult things. Because this would always max spawn. Because you're so high up. And you lit up literally everything else. That it was really hard to kind of make this safe from too many mobs.
Uh-huh.
So there is a
Should I go up or down to find honeypot?
up. You can even TP to me.
Okay, I'm just flying up. I guess I'll TP to you. Oh, here it is.
So I kind of squeezed it in between the glass.
I see. Okay, so yeah, when I was asking about um, the biome that we were in earlier, it was basically because of this. Like, I think like, yeah, like this ended up being like a super effective honeypot now that you've added it because I don't think there were many natural spawns that I was noticing. I mean, there were a bunch of spawners, so maybe there were natural spawns and I wasn't noticing them that much. But that honeypot ended up being super effective, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it was appreciated because, yeah, this area was fun. It maybe could have been a little bit harder, but it was reasonably challenging.
Yeah, this here is relatively easy if you do it in the intended order.
Uh-huh.
Just because you have so much gear, and especially because this area would feel more difficult, or like it should be more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you can do this one relatively quickly, so I want to make sure it wasn't too difficult. That's just a challenge with open world design.
But yeah,
I don't have anything else to say about this room.
yeah, I just, yeah, really like this whole area. And yeah, how did you, in terms of coming up with the idea for it, I guess there's a number of games, Link to the Past, I don't know, a million things where it's kind of like there's Universe 1 and Universe 2 and they're the same but they're different and you travel between one and the other. Like, was it something like that that gave you inspiration for this or?
I actually don't remember where the inspiration in particular came from. I did remember the just wanting the idea of having kind of a closed thing, and then you mimic it in another version, and then it just really open, and you kind of go back and forth.
I see.
But I don't remember any particular inspirations for
Okay.
this one.
Well, yeah, I love this one. It just felt so creative. This is the type of area that I don't expect to find in somebody else's map. Um,
Mm.
and yeah, there occasionally, I think you take Well, I guess I haven't played enough other people's maps recently or whatever, but I think you take risks um, with different styles and different areas and different things. Um, and they don't always hit, but this one definitely hit with me.
I think it's important to do that just to make sure that your content doesn't get kind of stale and repetitive. So that's what I'm actually most scared about is just releasing the same map over and over. Or people say, oh, this is basically Goliath 2.0, you're just not improving. So yeah, I would like to have every map feel kind of like its own thing. Especially since I'm not too much of a fan of comparing everything to another thing.
Hmm.
Especially when it's by different map makers. 'Cause then you feel like you're getting constantly compared. I think we're at the end of this area, right?
I think so. So yeah, where I can't remember now where I guess it's back out in the obelisks that actually leads to the spider area.
To figure out from here which one is the spider area.
Um I mean, I know it was the cyan diamond is what we were finally aiming for, but I've lost track of where it is and how to get there.
It's a bit lower, I think.
Okay, I'm just gonna spectator mode.
To your right.
Yep, got it.
Yeah.
And yeah, this was well hidden because I did not see, I think until I came out here, that there was like a back exit. The central obelisk is sufficiently imposing and kind of like blocking your lines of sight across the cavern that I just never noticed that this area was here.
Mm-hmm.
Had I noticed, I might have played the map completely differently because I was specifically trying to get ahead to try to find better resources later in the map. And it might have worked out in my favor not to do that because this area, like, if you can get through this passage, the next area you start getting some really good loot. But this probably would have been really tough if I was coming in with, fresh out of intersection one kind of loot, just trying to see if I could press ahead.
Yep. This is where I start to get kind of mean. Just
Obelisks
want
of
to make
inversion.
just wants to make sure. This is Noir Passage.
Noir Passage. This area has no music disc. So I think every other named area had a music disc other than the monument. Um,
Mm-hmm.
was it just like you decided how many discs you had, or you'd made all the other areas, or this was just supposed to be, distance to the back of the map and you wanted to give people something to do, or
It's the latter what you said. It's
okay.
basically some distance, so it's a really linear area,
Mm-hmm.
just to make the player kind of travel over the little castle area, because that's kind of underneath us right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is the Lonely Dark behind it, which is also kind of to gate people into the harder part of the map.
Right.
So I kind of had to add an extra record to the Lonely Dark at least,
Yeah,
because there
otherwise it would
will
have
be
been too
two areas
long.
behind each other.
Yeah, it would have been too
Mhm.
long without actually having found any objectives.
Mhm. So yeah, it's kind of like what I said at the start of this developer commentary. I would rather have the amount of objectives serve the map than the map serve the amount of objectives.
Indeed. Shall we take a pause here before we move on?
Sure thing.
All right. YouTube,
Okay.
hope you guys are having a great day. Twitch, you know the drill.
Goodbye.